Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Make It a Great Week, where we start off each Monday morning with a strong cup of coffee and a positive conversation. I'm your host, Justin.
And I'm Opa. Let's make it a great week.
For the first time ever on the Make It a Great Week podcast, we promised you a little while ago that we had a mystery guest lined up. This is a very important day. We would like to introduce to you on the show the first guest ever, Drew. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here at the world headquarters. Make it a great week.
Yeah, very nice. Thank you for coming and waking up this early.
So, first of all, we have to establish you are son-in-law number...
5. Oh, sorry.
5.
Okay, 5.
It is correct.
I'm sorry. Oh, this is your part, yeah. Please forgive me for interrupting.
Okay. Now, are you normally up this early in the morning? You're a morning person.
Normally, yes. It waxes and wanes.
Okay.
Like waxes and rains, you know? No. But depending on the day, I do like to wake up before the sun.
Okay.
But recently, I have fallen off a little bit. I'm sleeping in, little like 7:30.
Have you been climbing? Have you been doing your bouldering?
How do I say this? No.
Okay.
But I need to be, for sure.
Drew was bouldered for a long time, and then he got me into it, and I did it for a while, and we had a crew. It was good times, and then I moved farther away, and that was the last excuse I needed to stop getting up in the morning and exercising. So
Right. The crew is still there.
they've probably forgotten me now.
They might have, but you live on in our hearts.
Yeah.
But I'm not even part of the crew now, so they have forgotten about me.
Is your brother part of the crew still?
He is more a part of a crew than I am.
This is a sad day.
But it's good, because anytime we show back up, they will welcome us with open arms.
Yeah. Did you go bouldering at his birthday party? Did you?
Bouldering, I never heard that
Is that
term.
called bouldering? Is what they call...
Technically, indoor climbing, there is debate if it
Okay.
is actually real climbing or not, because you're not climbing on real rocks and it's inside. And it's like, should you be climbing somewhere where there is air conditioning? It's one way to view it. I consider
You
it
say
climbing.
tomato, I say tomato.
But the definition of bouldering is where you're climbing sort of without a rope, and they're shorter climbs where the goal is to get to the top of, say, a giant rock that you find in the woods, and that's the boulder, not jump. You climb.
That's what this guy does. Believe me. Every single
Careful.
time I get up there, I'm like, wow, we're 10 or 15 feet up. I'm going to slowly walk down. Drew, he like launches once he gets to the top. This is not exaggeration. He just jumps off and says, you can take it, niece. You got it.
That's why I will need a probably bilateral knee replacement.
He uses those terms like he's in that field.
Yeah, well, okay. We have to establish something first.
Okay.
I think this is precedent. That's a good question, though, but precedent for
Anyway.
future podcast guests. How do you take your coffee?
I was hoping you would ask,
Okay,
because this
good.
is a story that I was hoping I would get to tell.
Okay, good.
Oprah.
This might be apocryphal, but
If it's your
true.
story.
It is true. So, I drink coffee black. I did not drink coffee growing up. My mother drinks only sweet tea, like gallons every day.
Okay.
Just like you were talking about your grandmother who only drank coffee. Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
With the Splenda and
You
everything.
listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You did one episode. Did my homework.
No, but I did not drink coffee until I started working at a coffee shop, which is where I met Claire, or where we became friends and eventually fell in love. But one time, I don't know if you remember this, is when I came to meet Claire's family. I came to meet Opa, and we were...
That was not Opa at the time.
At the time, you were Mr. Kane.
Okay.
Oh, at the time, I didn't even know how to address you, or if I should, or if I was allowed
When you
to.
asked to marry Claire, did you ask him what you should call him, and did he give you an ambiguous answer?
No.
Okay.
I Anyways, let's tell the story. We go from Claire. But so we were coming here because I was taking Claire to a play, and I was gonna pick her up in my red car.
Oh yeah,
Remember
blood vessel. What was it?
Blood Runner?
Blood runner.
Is that what you called it, really?
Crown Victoria, the greatest car of all time. But anyways, so we show up, and on the drive, or it was earlier in the day at school. She said, "Hey, so tonight you're going to meet my family, and if they ask you if you want coffee, you have to say yes, and if they ask you how you want it, you have to say black." So I was like, okay, and I didn't love coffee at that time, but we show up. There were like 30 people in the kitchen, and you, Opa, were sitting right there where you always sit. And I remember we were talking, just meeting everyone, like 20 names of like, oh, good to meet, good to meet,
Yeah,
good to
yeah.
meet you, good to meet you, good to meet you, good to meet you. And so then I hear someone saying, Drew, can I get you some coffee? And I like look over. This is the apocryphal part.
Okay.
And you were there, and you like kind of glanced up, and I was like, oh yeah, sure. And then they said, do you need cream and sugar in it? And I was like, no, I'll take it black. And that is when I started drinking coffee. And now here we are.
And gained our approval.
Exactly.
So who offered you the coffee? Because it was a test.
I mean, it must have been Oma.
You think so? Well, she's too good natured to
For
taste it better than
sure.
that.
For sure.
I'm pretty sure I probably took it with at least cream when I came here, and I received no judgment from her. But Opa over there was probably looking at me like,
Stinty eye.
who's this guy? Well, you just bled into my second question. My second question was going to be how did you guys meet? But I mean, you answered it in one story. That was very well done.
A good a guest.
Yeah,
You can,
yeah.
He just reads your mind.
We handpicked him.
Yeah.
So what was your first impression of Drew then? I was going to ask, do you remember?
I can't remember.
Come on, you're going to make one up then. What was your first?
Okay, let me make one up. I can't remember the situation he's talking about because we have a lot of those kind of situations, and one doesn't stand out to me. I don't know. I mean, I knew him, I guess, from Spill the Beans. Please sponsor our podcast. Knew he was a quality guy, because of that kind of thing, and I knew what he was. I think what he was doing at the time. Weren't you still? I mean, you were going to college at the time. His he, as a father, you guys both have daughters. As a father, you're looking for, who can marry my little girl. We were talking about that last week. I think.
Yeah.
How there's not going to be anybody good enough. I would never thought I was, because Claire was in college. I would never have thought that I was going to say, yes, you can get married before you end your college career. You got to graduate first, and then you can think about getting married. But I had no qualms of allowing them to get married. Claire was like one more year, I think, because he was already in the profession. I felt like, well, number one, he's a quality guy. He's been working for a year. And at his profession, and he could help her finish her college degree because she was going to be in the same profession. And so far, it's worked out well.
So what profession are you in right now?
I am a nurse. Claire also is a nurse, and now a decade in. It's crazy.
Are you ready?
Is that decade already?
A decade of experience. And you can't say 10 years because that's not the same weight.
Not in the LinkedIn posts.
Right.
After a decade of
experience.
Exactly.
The other day, one of my clients said, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. So how did you get into nursing? What was when you were in high school, did you know you were going to go into nursing? Was it up in the air right until you got into college?
I truly don't know because it was always sort of what I was going to do, I felt like. My mom is a nurse as well. And growing up, I saw how she would care for people. And then there were several situations that sort of lent themselves, paved the way for this to be a career. My grandfather, my dad's dad, lived with us for about 6 years, and near the end, he needed a lot of assistance with his activities of daily living is what they call them. And he was on dialysis, both, the AV fistulas as well as peritoneal dialysis for many years. And so just throughout life, there were situations that just sort of pointed the way that this is the path that you need to be on, like helping people. And even just like this podcast, like there are things you can do even if you can't change someone's situation to make their life better or to make their suffering less. And that is something that I have always enjoyed doing, sort of been pushed toward for whatever reason.
And accepted it, the calling.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it has been a joy and a privilege for sure. And there are a number of different things as a nurse you can do, a lot of like twists in the road and different opportunities you can take. But I have always enjoyed taking care of patients, being with people. And similarly, I obviously can't speak for Claire, but similarly, she's very much a person who cares very deeply about the people around her, strangers as well as family. And it's what nursing is all about.
Yeah.
Very good.
Well, you guys definitely do care about people, and that shows of how you live your life for sure. So when you went to college and you got into the field of nursing originally, was it what you expected, or was it like, this is, because I know when I entered my profession, when I actually started my job, it was like, this is like nothing that I thought it was going to be like at all.
It was pretty close because at the school at Bob Jones, which is where I went to college, we did 3 years of clinicals. So we basically were in the hospital with nurses, with patients from sophomore year till the end. And then before graduation, there was a 6-week period where you follow a nurse's schedule and 12 hours.
Why don't they do that with every profession? I forget they do that with nursing. Like,
Yeah. And I'm
do you do that
sure
with anybody else other than like maybe pre-med? I mean, everything else is like, not even pre-med, you wouldn't be doing that, right?
Yeah, I don't think they do that in pre-med. I know they have programs during the summer they can do. But nursing, maybe if there was physical therapy, like pre-physical therapy, they would do some like clinic hours. But like nursing, when you graduate, like you have to be, once you pass your licensure exam, they are assuming you are at the base level qualification to begin working.
Yeah.
So we had to get that experience before.
And even after that, once you become a nurse, pass the test and everything, that's when Elise says that she's out there. Elise, our second oldest daughter, charge nurse at times, and preceptor, is that what they call them? She's training the baby nurses, as she calls them.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yes.
How far do I let the baby nurses, for lack of a better term, screw up before I jump in and save this person's life? And,
For sure.
but so I can't imagine that kind of on the job training, because it's one thing that I had a job that if I goofed up, somebody got the product in the wrong box. Whoop-de-doo, These nurses, if they goof up, my goodness, they could kill somebody. So anyway, thank you guys for all you do.
Yeah, and I was going to ask too, like, I'm sure as you've been a nurse for a decade now of experience, has there been different moments where you've seen how kindness has like really affected either the people that you're taking care of or their kindness to you? Like, I'm sure that with that much experience, you've had those moments where, because I know like when I've visited people in the hospital, especially like my parents or grandparents, the nurse is like, it is what totally changes the whole experience. Like if you have someone in there who's caring and not rushed, and it really, you can tell their goal is to help the person, it just totally makes the whole experience and vibe different.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I was telling you guys this earlier, but there was a promotional video that the organization made. This has been probably a decade ago, where they showed how many different people go into a patient room every day. And it ended up being like certainly over 50, and I think it was closer to 80 people which is basically like 3 people an hour. And if you think about all of the opportunity, and the point of the video was you always need to be trying to make that difference in someone's life. Because if you have someone coming into your room who's not happy to be there and who's grumpy because they're having a bad day at home, that really can ruin a patient's experience, like entire experience.
Yeah.
Because it's just one of those things. Like even the environmental services people coming in to clean the room, you never notice if they are doing a really good job, but you certainly notice if they are not. And some of them, like most joyful people at the hospital, are not the, are not the people that you would think. Like you have the food services people or the lab people where their interaction with patients can truly like make or break the entire experience. Because the doctors you expect to act appropriately, and then nurses and all your executives. But when everyone from like top to bottom is trying to make that difference, it really does make the hospitalization, which for a lot of people is the worst time in their life, it can make it a lot better. And for me, a lot of times if a patient is having a really hard time or they're being very mean or ugly, a lot of times it's just because they are feeling that they are not getting some very simple thing that they need, whether it's a cup of water or an extra turkey sandwich.
Yeah.
And so there's so many times where how you go into that room when you hear someone is angry, that you can change that situation too, just by something very small, not moving the world, but just a little thing.
Oh, that's a huge life skill. I'm sure that you've gotten way better at assessing too how to help someone, if they're in a bad mood, how to get them in a good mood, whether that's joking with them or matching their intensity and bringing them down or like all those things. I'm sure that, that's such a good life skill to have going forward.
Oh, for sure.
And now you can use that with your children, right?
Yes. Yes. But the problem is when they start doing that stuff back to you.
Oh, I've already heard them. Your oldest son, he's like the master negotiator. He gets right in there.
It's crazy. He'll bring a bar or something and I'll be like, hey, Dad, I want to split this with you. Do you want to split half of this? It's like, no, actually, I don't. But
yeah, the other day when we were at here for Sunday lunch, my oldest daughter was getting out tiny little cups of cereal and tiny little cups of Cheetos and was giving them to everyone. When she does that, she also, of course, gives them
giant.
Yeah, exactly. But at the end, she had 2 of them, and she was like, I really want to eat both of these now. And I said, okay, but we're not going to have a snack on the way home. Okay, I want to eat them now. Okay, we're not going to have a snack on the way home. Okay. As soon as we get in the car, I can't believe I didn't get a snack on the way.
It's so funny.
It's like, we talked about this. Yeah, I know, but I would like a snack now.
It's funny.
So can you believe you have 3 kids now? Does that like seem real? Does it seem like yesterday that you were pre-kids?
I would say yes, because like thinking back to when you were young, like I never really saw life after college, because when you're in school, it's just like every single year you do the same thing, and after college, like when I was in high school, looking past even high school, it was just like this gray curtain basically. And it has been very cool to see like life unfolding and viewing even where I was, a decade ago versus now is pretty crazy, because I was not married. I had no children. I would have had around a year, like I'd be coming up on a year of experience. But your view of life as a 23-year-old single dude versus a lot older father of 3.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
Well, a lot more responsibility. You're taking care of a lot of people now, and they're depending on you. And that changes your perspective on life a lot, or it should.
For sure.
So what was Spill the Beans like? Was that your first job in high school?
No, I worked at Subway actually. Before that, which I love Subway. Like a lot of times you hear people work somewhere with food, especially, and then do not like it after.
Mhm.
But I still love Subway.
Mm.
We used to eat a lot of cookies, for sure.
So you like the job, or you like the
I like the food. The job was fine. Like
Okay.
you're just making sandwiches, just a little Subway club here and there, or like a melt, and it kind of is what it is. Like food service is very important because that's where you learn a lot of those interpersonal skills. Same with like sales, like all the sales jobs you've had. It's like everything is a negotiation, and and you can learn a lot of skills. But Spill the Beans was fun because it was ice cream and coffee. And so like
Downtown Greenville,
yeah,
good location.
it was a
two
lot of
things
fun.
that make people's life just incredibly better.
Yeah.
Nice, strong cup of coffee. And if Spill the Beans doesn't sponsor us, I can't believe this. But anyway, all this shameless. I'm promoting this company, Spill the Beans. They have the best coffee ever.
It's true.
I mean, Delano's, was it?
Delano's.
Delano's?
Out of I believe Seattle.
Yeah.
And it
That's where they get their
truly
coffee from?
is. Yes.
Yes. And if I
Delish.
could afford it, I would buy their big bags of coffee if they still have them there. Because their coffee, that is the smoothest coffee. Oh,
Their medium
Yeah.
Delano's blend.
I haven't had that much of their coffee. I feel like I've
I mean,
gone
I've not
the ice
lived.
cream.
It is so good.
the Americana is just out
Yep.
of this world. Just straight up black Americana. Can't get any better than that.
It is very good.
Can't get any better than that. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, and that and ice cream at a great location. Wow. Talk about making people's days go better. They can go in there and, feeling depressed and everything, get Americana and a nice little waffle cone. Things aren't as bad as I thought. Over the river. It's a beautiful place. And the camaraderie they had. Tell us a little bit about that. The camaraderie that
Yeah, there was a music video made at some
Oh,
point,
it was-
right? You had a guitar solo in it.
Yes.
yeah.
The most famous Christmas
Yeah,
music
it
video.
was beautiful. It was so good.
Closing time.
Julia loves it. Up to this day, she'll put it on. Closing time. Yeah. And
It is.
is there copyright? Anything we got to worry about that?
We just can't play the music.
Okay.
We can play like 3 seconds of the music. You guys want me to sing it for 3 seconds?
Oh.
But you can't.
No, it was like,
That was so fun. Whose idea was that?
it must have been Abrams' idea, the owner, and I don't know where, because there have been several like shows that have done that at restaurants where
Yeah.
at closing time they'll play that. But the song literally is called Closing Time, and it is the perfect song to let everybody know that you got to get out of here
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the day's over.
Now, bonus round. Who wrote and played the closing time?
Semisonic, is it not?
Ding, 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 ding.
Okay, nice.
Man,
That was terrible. There was, as I looked into my brain, there was nothing.
A fraction of a second of clarity. Oh, I got it.
That song too at Chick-fil-A when we closed sometimes.
No, did you?
You felt so cool as a high schooler. Like
Yeah,
that song. When I was
for
closing, like, wow, I'm living this right now. I'm
Yeah.
closing the store. This is incredible.
Yes.
It helps you not think about the fact that it was 10:30 and you're just covered in grease
Yeah,
and chicken guts.
Well, we always smelled like waffle cones.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which was not bad at all.
Yeah. Yes, for sure.
A little bit of a bougie job to start off. An ice cream shop, most people are out there in the back with the fryers and
Just elbow deep in some pickles.
we would have to do that.
Yeah. But that reminds me, do you remember your idea for a breakfast restaurant
Um,
that involves waffle cones?
Help me out here.
This is
One of the many ideas that's popped
so
in my head.
true, but this is something that I like always think about that you can't even remember because it's
Yeah.
just like how you like latch on to certain stuff. But you said back in the day that if you took a waffle cone and like had a scoop of like
Oh,
eggs
yeah,
or like
like
a
scrambled
hash,
egg.
yeah,
Yeah.
in
With
there
some
would
bacon.
be so good.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Or like chicken nuggets because it would be like sweet and savory.
And
Yeah.
then they could put the chicken nuggets in there and sprinkle a little bit of maple syrup on top.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Hey guys, let's.
No, because one thing that Claire and I always joke about is that we're going to have a food truck someday, and it's going to be called Swervin and Servin.
Pulled by horses.
No.
Two dreams in one.
Yes.
Oh man.
Wait, so what is it going to be called?
Swervin and Servin.
Oh, that's
I love it.
clever. Yeah.
And that would be the perfect, because it's compact, it's easy to carry around. Just take a little chicken nugget, chicken and waffles.
Yeah. You can eat it while you're driving and,
Yeah.
and whatever.
So on breakfast, you just have like a hash that you can just scoop and then put it in the cone.
Well,
and
it
then switch
depends.
to
You know,
lunch.
but-
That's the number one. But then you have also number two, which is chicken nuggets.
a lot of different things.
I like this idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's been
Anyway, maybe we could take the Shark Tank.
Drew is here to pitch his idea for his food truck.
all right, Mark Cuban. Swervin and
I want
Servin.
royalty on every single chicken nugget you sell.
Hey, that would be
You
fine.
guys are crazy. Oh man. So, how do you go about your day trying to make it a great day for people?
It's a tough question.
Wow,
That's a tough
singers.
question because nowadays you're not in the same
Yeah,
profession.
Drew
you know?
has recently switched roles somewhat. He's joined
It is a
executive wing.
no. Well, it's more focused on the corporate side for sure,
the process more than the people. Huh?
right? Which I do struggle with,
Yeah.
but I will still be able to get that experience. It's just less frequent to be in contact with patients. So now my focus is on the team that I am leading. And then as far as how to make people's day great, one thing that I always try to do is if I'm passing someone, because you always, if you are passing someone in the street, you'll just like say hello or whatever. But if you ever actually want to have a conversation with them, the way that I go about doing that is by saying hello in like a weird way that like throws people off. So you like go, you just say like, "Hey, how we doing?" Because then that sort of breaks through the just the veneer or like the level of just surface level, and then
Yeah.
people are willing to open up. And you just got to get that where you can at the store, to the server at Spill the Beans, because again, a lot of those interactions are just like the janitor going into the patient's room, and like we can be that person for other people is how I try and view it. And like those throwaway interactions are just as important as the ones with your family or so yeah.
It's a good way to live, to be constantly thinking, how can I serve others today? One of the things that I like to, if you look on the profile, or you can an Uber or Lyft, you have this driver profile that people can look at, and they say what turns you on or what makes you happy, and I put on there being someone's answer to prayer. Makes me happy. And I like that. I don't know how they came up with that. But that is, I say, you know what? That's what I love to do. I love to be someone's answer to prayer. If they're praying to God, saying, how in the world? And then I show up with whatever that is, and meant to be, and for me to be used by the God of the universe to answer this person's prayer, to be handpicked by the God of the universe to answer the person's prayer. I say,
Right.
wow, that's pretty. That makes me feel good to be able to be their answer to prayer,
Right.
So I don't know. That's a good way to look at life, and so a good way to go through life.
Well, and you do this too for Uber, because I've been in many Ubers where there's nothing in the car and they don't interact with you, and and some people like that, but
Yeah.
but you have done a lot to try and foster those sort of relationships with this person who you're only going to see them, potentially for like 15 minutes for their whole life.
Yeah, right. Could be.
But you take that time to make that connection, to try and be that answer to prayer, and then even having, the bottled water for them.
Yeah,
Or
yeah. Or
what else do you
mints.
have back there?
I've got some mints. Sometimes if a little container back there. You know, it's a space, so I put mints in there so that they can, you know, individually wrap mints so that they can take them if they want. But yeah, and then you know, usually a lot of times I'm taking people, like this morning was, you know, to a restaurant or to a cute center over someplace off of Cedar Lane Road. Anyway, they're kitchen staff, you know, and I say, well, you know, thank you for using Uber and thank you for showing up and doing your part, because you know I'm sure that they're thinking, you know, going to another day of work, you know, another day in the salt mines. But you know what? You're an important part here, because if you weren't, they wouldn't be paying you to show up.
Oh, for sure.
They're paying you to show up, so you're here for a reason, and they want you. They need you here, and I try to, you know, at least foster that attitude. You know, that hey, I'm glad that that they're here, showing up, making other people's lives better. You know,
Yeah, definitely.
by showing up. Because if they don't show up, that's just going to add all this more responsibility on somebody else. Anyway, it's not about me; it's about you.
Well, there's a reason I wanted to do this podcast with you, and there's a reason I wanted you, Drew, to be the first guest, because both of you are the kind of people that, like, you tend to boost people as you go along life. Like, you tend to have those interactions that pump people up and are encouraging and uplifting, and start their day. Because like you said, with just how you greet people, like sometimes when people are having a bad day, that's all they need to be reminded of the goodness of people. And that was a big part of why I wanted to do this podcast, was I wanted to be able to remind people, especially as we have more and more stories of that people send in, is reminding people of how good people can be, how kind they can be, how selfless they can be. And sometimes even just a small interaction, like maybe that's the first person that day that's been genuinely kind or caring to them, and actually wants to know what's going on. Because I think, you know, sometimes people don't necessarily have that many people that are checking in on them or smiling and saying hi. And especially in an Uber, you have no idea when they're getting in your car what their day is going to look like. Like maybe they have nothing to look forward to, or they think they have nothing to look forward to. And then just, you know, you saying that to them is like, yeah, you know what, I am doing a good thing of getting up right now and going to work, and this is what I should be doing.
Yeah, right, exactly right. Well, it's a good constant reminder, if you can have that in the back of your head, that listen, how can I make this person's day better? And it could be, like you said, just an introduction, just saying hey to them, saying hi to somebody. I remember used to work for a guy. I mean, it was at Bob Jones, Mr. Butt's Office of Student Services, and he would, every time he'd go through campus, when I walked with him across campus, everybody, and I mean everybody, he would look him in the eye as they cross paths and just say something to him, hey, because he was from Georgia, Southern boy from Georgia. And always say, hey, just as nice as guy. And I said, I'm going to try to start doing that, you know, to be able to just acknowledge the person's alive and their presence, and they're passing me. Just say hi, or just a hey, you know, just at least eye contact with them, and some kind of maybe even unspoken communication, nod of the head or something, but just to make them feel a little bit better. It's a hard thing to do. If you try to do that, it's really hard to do.
But it makes a huge difference, because even on some of the floors where I have worked, like there are people that I don't ever interact with, or our paths should not cross, but because we're in the same space, there are some people that would just walk by. But I do always try to just be like, hey, how we doing? And over time, that credibility or that like relationship builds up over time, to the point where if you don't say hi, they'll ask, you know, what's wrong?
Yeah.
Even though you don't know, you know, the name. It's like, who is this guy? But they're asking me how I'm doing because I didn't ask them. How they're doing. So it is cool. And it doesn't take that much of your time to do that. It's just treating others how you would like to be treated. It's like, I would love for people to just say hi to me as I'm just walking down the street, you know?
That's a good thing. Very good thing. Well, do you think you like this guy's? What do you invite him back?
A good guess. Yes. Well, we're tentatively planning on having a guest maybe every 10 episodes. So If we just had everyone on the family once, you'd be back in about 3 years.
Let's see. Hey, that would be fine. Because there are a lot of good perspectives, and it would be cool to hear from the family that, makes the podcast.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I would love to have
That'd be really
everyone
cool.
who wants to come on, be on.
Mhm.
There's a lot of wisdom and stories and a lot of kindness to be shared, for sure.
Mm-hmm. That is one thing. I think we should try to be as kind as possible. What was previous podcast? What was it? Did you say a habit of kindness or something like that?
Oh, the character of kindness.
Character
Yeah.
of kindness.
I should have.
We need to write these things down. We need to make a list.
Yeah,
of
that
those.
t-shirt.
Yeah. Wow. But if you can have that, that would be great. Yeah.
I think that if we all could be a little bit more like Drew, even in just the way he says hello and the energy he has and the just infallible kindness he has, then we could all
Make it a great week.
Wow.